So first of all, guys, I sanded the epoxy primer. A lot of people think that you can't sand the epoxy primer, but I sanded the epoxy primer with 600 right here. Okay, dry sand. I didn't use any water or anything. It was dry sand, and I just went to town with a DA and sanded it down. That's all it is. That's all I did. It sands real easy. This epoxy primer that I applied it's an excellent primer. I'm gonna leave all the materials that I used, including the epoxy primer that I used on this 37. All right, guys. So let me just get started. Let me spray these lines that beige color, and I'll bring you back. So when I start spraying. Okay, the gun I'm gonna be using for this, it's gonna be my Italco Mini Shine. Has a 1.0 tip. That's what I'm going to be using to paint that beige color. So let's just get started and spray the beige, and then I'll be spraying some clear, some semi-gloss clear, and I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it at that. Let it dry, sand down the clear, sand down the what I did, and then I can just tape it up, paint the color of the car, and just take off the tape and paint the whole, clear coat the whole thing over. That's the other way you can do it. It works. Let me show you and go from there. There it is. I applied 3 coats of the base color. Now I'm going to apply the semi-gloss clear just to this portion right here, because I'm still going to sand everything else. I'm still going to sand it so that I can put the actual color of the car. This is just a little style line that the car has. So let me just apply the clear coat and go from there. Finish this one up. There it is. After I applied 3 coats of that clear, that semi-gloss clear. It looks extremely shiny right now, but it's going to turn to a semi-gloss. Now I'm just going to wait for about 3 days, and so that I can tape it up, sand the other part, so that it can get its color. All right. So let me wait 3 days, and I'll bring you back. All right, guys. It's been 3 days now. I already covered this. I already covered the line that's going to have to stay there. Everything has been cleaned with a wax and grease remover. And they're ready. All these parts are ready to get their color. So let's just get started and paint it. All I did to this is scuffed it down with a 600 grit sandpaper. Everything has been sanded down with 600 grit. Everything. So it's real easy to sand that epoxy primer. So let's just get started. Mix the epoxy primer again, because this time I'm going to use it as a sealer. All right, the way I did it on the car, I'm going to use it as a sealer. Now if you didn't see the video for that, guys, go back, follow all this build. It's real interesting, and I give you a lot of little hints. The reason I have the hood like this is because I want paint to get all in there. So I have it kind of open, but everything's gonna get painted. All right, let's start painting. Guys, the gun I'm gonna be using, it's my Welcome Genesi Carbonio 360 Light with a 1.3 tip. That's the gun I'm gonna be using for the sealer and for the base, not for the clear. The clear I'm gonna be using another gun. I'll tell you which one it's gonna be. All right, let's get started. Let's start mixing, start shooting. There it is. The sealer has been applied. All you need is one coat, and leave it for 15 minutes so that it can dry. Then you can start applying your paint. But in this case, I'm going to apply sealer. Another sealer. The thing is that this sealer is to get the paint as close as possible to the original paint that it's going to go. So it's for me just to have, for me not to use that much paint. All right, you'll see what I mean. But that's on this part right here. If you don't have the other sealer that I have, you can just start applying your base coat on top of this. All right, but I'm gonna apply that one just to cover up quicker and not use too much paint. There it is, one coat of the colored sealer, and this is going to get me as close as possible to the original color. All right, let me just wait 10 minutes for it to dry so that I can start applying the actual color of the car. And there's the first coat of base, the actual color. Now you saw how quick that covered? The reason is the sealer that I used, the colored sealer. So it's a good idea if you can, if your paint provider has colored sealer, it's a good idea for you to get as close as possible to the actual color. You won't waste that much paint. Right now I'm just gonna wait about 10 minutes and I'm gonna apply 2 more coats of the base, maybe 1 more coat. It covered perfectly, so either 1 or 2. I'll see how it goes, but that's how quick it is when you get colored sealer. All right, there it is. After 3 coats of the base, everything came out real nice. Now all I gotta do is take off that tape so that I can reveal the beige color and apply the clear coat over everything. And there it is after the 3 coats of clear. Now again guys, it looks extremely shiny, but it's gonna end up as a semi-gloss. All right, but there it is, the line. Let me show it to you this side. The line came out the way it's supposed to. So that's another way you can do it. And if you're gonna paint some stripings or any type of graphics on the paint job. That's another way you can do it. But everything came out real nice. I'm just gonna let it dry for a couple of days so that I can paint the bottom of this. I'm gonna start putting that Pour 15 semi-gloss Pour 15 on the bottom of this, of the fenders and on the hood, so before I can start putting everything back. But all in all, came out real good. I'm gonna be applying this Pour 15 on the underside of the back fender. I already did one fender, but this is the other one, and the hood. Okay, so let me show you how this is done, and let's just get started. All right, guys, first of all, I sanded it down with 600 grit. Everything has been sanded, everything has been cleaned, and everything has been wax and grease removed. So this is ready. This part also sanded with 600, wax and grease removed. It's ready for the application of the Pour 15. That's all you need to do. Let me start applying it so you can see how it's done. All right, you saw me apply it. I'm gonna do the entire area just like that. I'm just gonna start applying it to one side. All right, guys, let me just finish it up. I'll bring you back once everything has been applied. I'm gonna be adding 2 coats. I'm gonna apply 1 coat. I'm gonna wait 2 hours. Then I'm gonna apply a second coat. It's gonna have 2 coats. That'll be it. There it is. The first coat has been applied. Now I gotta wait for 2 hours in order for me to recoat it. This is the way you do it, guys. This is the way you do it. So let me just wait 2 hours, recoat it, and I'll bring you back once it's dried up so you can see the finished product. There it is, guys. This is after 24 hours of drying. Everything came out real nice. Underneath the hood also came out real nice. Now you can use this application on anything that you're not gonna want to apply paint. You can use this. You can put some Pour 15 under it, and it's protected against rust and everything. All right. Continuing with the 37, I got the 2 front fenders and a couple of miscellaneous parts over there that I'm gonna start painting. If you haven't followed this build, guys, go back to the beginning. Follow the build of the 37. It's a real interesting one. You get a lot of neat tips and tricks. So just go back to the beginning and look at all the build. All right, guys, let me get started. I'm gonna be using some epoxy primer slash sealer. I'm gonna be using it as a sealer. Let's just get started. First of all, I'm gonna start degreasing it. I'm gonna be using some wax and grease remover and just wipe it on and just wipe it off and it'll be clean. All right. All right, before we start applying the sealer, these parts right here, these are the backlights of that 37. These are cast iron, okay? What I did, I sanded it down with 320, cleaned it up with some acetone, and then I applied some adhesion promoter. I applied 2 coats, waiting 20 minutes in between each coat. So that should be good enough for the epoxy sealer that's coming up next, and that's the way I prepared these. There it is. Just one coat of sealer. That's all it needs. Now I'm just going to let it dry for 10 minutes. Make sure everything's dried and start preparing the colored sealer that I'm going to be applying so that I can get close enough to the paint, the actual color paint. All right. Now I hope you saw me how I did the cleaning in between the exchanging of the colors. That's the way I do it. That's the way I do it to clean the gun in order for me to start applying the different color that's going to be sprayed. There it is. This is after 3 coats of base. I was waiting 10 minutes in between coats. It's good to go. Now I'm going to wait 15 minutes for it to dry so that I can start applying the clear. And remember, this is a semi-gloss clear. This is not a real mirror shine finish. This is just semi-gloss. That's the way these cars came from the factory. So that's the way the owner wants it. There it is after the 3 coats of clear. Came out real nice. This car is getting close to finish, guys. Getting close to being finished. Now I'm gonna let it dry for a couple of days, about 3 or 4 days, so that I can start applying that Pour 15 underneath the wheel wells. Guys, we are getting one step closer to finishing this 37. So these are some miscellaneous parts. This is a trunk lid. So first of all, I'm gonna degrease it. Use some wax and grease remover just to remove everything that might be on the panels, and go from there. This is a wax and grease remover that I'm using. Now you can use any brand of wax and grease remover. Actually, you can also use some acetone to degrease the entire panels. But that's the brand that I'm using. I'm gonna leave all the information of all the materials that I'm using in the link down below. So let's just get started. Let's start mixing the epoxy primer sealer. Again, I'm going to be using it as a sealer. All right, let me start mixing. Put it in the gun. The gun I'm going to be using is my Welcome Genesi Carbonio 360 Light with a 1.3 tip. All right, guys, let's get started. Alright guys, this is the sealer. This sealer is the same, almost the same color as the car, so that I don't have to waste that much paint on the actual color. But you only need one coat. Let's just get mixing that color of the car and start applying the 3 coats of actual base. There it is, 3 coats of base. Now I'm gonna let it dry. I've been waiting 10 minutes in between each coat. Now I'm gonna let it dry, and for about 15 minutes, come back with a tack rag, just wipe everything down so that I can get all the residue off and start applying the clear. Now, if you're haven't been following this build, the clear I'm using is a semi-gloss, right there. Semi-gloss clear. Okay, so it's gonna end up looking shiny once I spray it, but once it's dry, It's a semi-gloss. All right, it's not gonna be that shiny. It's gonna be shiny, but not that much. All right, so let's just wait that 15 minutes. Start applying the clear. There it is, the first coat of clear. I'm going to be waiting 15 minutes in between each coat. I'm going to be applying 2 more coats, which will make 3 coats. So let me just wait 15 minutes. I'll come back. I'll bring you back once the 3 coats of clear have been applied. There it is after the 3 coats of clear. Looks good. Looks really good. So now I'm just going to let it dry for about 3 days before I put it back on the car. Now the car is almost fully assembled, guys. All I need is the trunk and the doors, and that's it. After this, I'm going to be painting the doors. After the doors, I'm going to be painting the rims. The rims are also going to be the color of the car with that sand color. That sand color that I have, there's going to be a stripe on the rim. I'm going to start painting the doors for that 37 and some window moldings that the car has from the inside and one of the rims. Okay, this is an extra rim. I'm going to be painting that too. So let's just get started and start painting it. Again, guys, the gun I'm going to be using is my Welcome Genesi Carbonio 360 Light with a 1.3 tip. Also, I'm going to be applying the epoxy primer sealer. I'm going to be using it as a sealer. And let's just get started mixing and go from there. There's some comments and questions regarding this as to why I'm using this and not primer. Guys, this is an epoxy sealer. It's you can use it as primer also for bare metal. The door has some bare metal parts when I block sanded it, so that's the reason I want to just apply a whole new layer of the epoxy primer sealer. That's the only reason. This is real good for that, so it's gonna work perfect. That's the reason that I'm using this. You can use just regular primer. You will need to block it. You will need to straighten everything out and start applying your paint. But this is the way I'm doing it, and it's been working fine for me. I've never had any issues with it, so I'm gonna continue using it. All right, everything has been mixed. Got the sealer in the gun. Let's start spraying. There it is, one coat of sealer, epoxy sealer, or epoxy primer slash sealer, whatever you want to call it. But I'm gonna let it dry for about 15 minutes. I'll come back and start applying the sealer, but it's gonna be the colored sealer. If you haven't followed the build, Go back to the beginning so you know what I'm doing with the primers and sealers. All right. Right now it's about 95 Fahrenheit here in the inside, so it's kind of hot, so it's gonna dry up real quick. All right, so let's just let it set. I'll come back when I'm gonna start applying the colored sealer. There it is. There's the first coat. Now, this line right here, it's the same tan color that I need to paint. But the reason I'm not doing it right now because I'm gonna flow coat the door. Reason I'm gonna flow coat it, not because there's dirt, but because I'm gonna paint that line. So I'm gonna sand it down after everything's been dried up with the clear. I'm gonna sand it down, paint that line, and flow coat the entire door, both doors. All right, and I also need to put that tan color to the rim. This part right here of the rim, everything right here is gonna go that tan color. So that's what I'm gonna be doing to the rim also. All right, so this is the first coat. Let me wait 10-15 minutes, come back, apply 2 more coats, and that'll be it. It'll be done with the actual color. There it is, 3 coats of base. Now all I gotta do, I'm gonna wait 15 minutes for it to dry before I start applying the clear. All right, let me just wait those 15 minutes, come back, start applying the 3 coats of clear. There it is, that's a clear I'm gonna be using. It's a semi-gloss clear with some medium hardener, medium activator. The gun I'm gonna be using is my Iwata LS400 Intech with a 1.4 tip. All right, let me get started. Start applying the first coat. There it is after the 3 coats of clear, and it looks good. It looks really good. Now I'm gonna let it dry for about 2 days. After the 2 days, I'm gonna come back. These parts right here, they're ready. On these, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna sand just the front part of the door completely, so that I can paint this line, this tan line, and then re-clear it, and that'll cover the tan line, and that'll cover like a flow coat type of thing, and it'll be nice and smooth. Now the inside's perfect. I'm just gonna tape everything up so that I don't get clear coat on this side, but all in all, came out real nice. What I'm doing, I took out the air on the tire. This tire has a tube inside, so I just took out the air. I'm gonna push this thing down so that I can put the tape inside. I'm sanding the wheels with a red, maroon, red, whatever you want to call it, Scotch-Brite, and that's it. I'm just scuffing it down. Now what I'm doing, guys, I'm just cutting little strips of tape, and I'm putting them in there, going all the way around. Right there, you can see how I'm doing it. It's just for me to ensure that it's inside, but yeah, that's the way it's gonna go. By the time I get here, it's gonna overlap with that one, and I'll have this portion covered. There it is. It overlapped the other one. Now I know everything's covered from the rim to the tire. Now a lot of you are gonna say, how come you just didn't dismount the tire and just it's a lot easier? Yes, it is. The thing is that it costs money too. A lot of times the customer doesn't have that much money, doesn't want to do that extra expense. This is a way you can do it on your own rims, on your own driveway. So you can dismount it, just get the rim by itself. It's a lot easier. I would have been just taping up the valve stem and all that, but this is another way to do it, and it works. It's gonna work perfectly. Now the next step that I did, I just taped up some masking paper, went all the way around, taped it up here. Now all I'm gonna do is just cover it up, tape it up, just continue all the way around. Now the bottom portion, I'm not gonna paint. The customer doesn't want the inside painted, so it's just gonna be this, which is a lot easier. You won't even see the other ones. Now there are rims that are white, they have real big gaps, and you'll see the inside of the rim. Now I do recommend for you to paint it, the inside. How you do it exactly the same thing, but in the opposite side. Now when you cover this, you can cover it on both sides doing the same thing, and it'll cover both sides on the tires. That's it. Now you can start spraying the inside and the outside together. It's real simple, guys. Let me just cover this up so that I can get it ready for paint. There it is, all 4 of them. They're ready to go. Let me just prepare the paint and start spraying. First of all, I'm going to be using sealer. It's a medium gray sealer from Eurocam, and I'm going to be using my Mini Shine by Italco. Alright, let's just mix the sealer, pour it in the gun, start spraying. There it is. just one coat, that's all you need. Now I'm gonna let it dry for about 10 minutes, then I'll come back, start applying the first coat of base so that it can be ready. There it is, all 3 coats have been applied. Now I'm gonna wait 1 hour. The reason I'm waiting 1 hour before continuing is that I need to paint this lip right here. Needs to be that tan sand color. All right, so I'm gonna have to wait an hour so it can dry real good, so that I can tape up this portion and do this, paint this before I can apply the clear. But let me just wait 1 hour. I'll bring you back once I start masking it. And there it is, two-tone paint job on the rims. Now I hope you saw how I did it. It works. I know there's got to be a quicker way, but it worked. So I'm just gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes, making sure that this beige color dries up so that I can start applying my clear. It's gonna be that semi-gloss clear. So let's just wait those 10 minutes. I'll come back once I'm gonna start applying the clear. There it is after the 3 coats of clear. Came out real good. And with this, the car is done. Awesome. After 3-4 months of working on this 37, guys, it's done. Came out real good. I want to thank the owner of the car. Thank you very much for letting me do this project. You're gonna love it, brother, and I know you're gonna enjoy your car. All right, guys, the next video is gonna be the reveal, assembled, cleaned, and ready to go. It's going back to the owner. So guys, I want to thank you very much for following this build. If this is your first video, guys, there's a complete build of this 1937 Pontiac. Go back to the beginning and look at the way this car was built. And there it is, guys. Completely reassembled. All these parts, I'm not gonna assemble it. All this, the owner's gonna re-chrome everything. But there it is. Hope you guys like this build. The window, the owner's gonna upholster everything from the inside. I'll show you that right now. So I'm not gonna put that. These windows are not gonna be reinstalled until it gets back home. But all in all, came out looking really nice. Right there, guys. And this is a semi-gloss. This is not a completely glossy finish as per the owner. But there it is. And there it is, guys. This will be it for this video. I hope you liked it. Guys, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe so you can see more content.
Good afternoon from Fort Worth, Texas. Just reporting in with all the fans and viewers of Faraway Painting. Just want to let you know the car arrives safe and sound. Many thanks to the guys at Faraway Painting. I got some work to do to it till, including the front bumpers. They need to be put on. I haven't really cleaned it since the truck ride. It took about 8 hours to get here. Fort Worth is located about 500 miles. At the same time, you can convert that to about 800 kilometers for those folks that live out of the country. The color turned out to be a beautiful Pontiac ginger brown, and we wanted it to be restored just like it left the factory, with the cream pinstripes that go along the hood here. And the other way it left the factory, it had the pinstripes also on the wheels. So the guys at Faraway Painting did a phenomenal job in recreating the color as close as we could to how it left the factory. We left the windows out because we need to put the headliner in, and it's so much easier if you do the headliner with the windows out. And so you'll see that we also left the back window out. Let me put the bumpers on, since I got them out here, and then I'll come back to you and give you a little bit more history of what this Pontiac automobile is all about, from 1937, built at the end of 36, when it was a pretty good era at, coming out of the recession of the 1930s. So let me put you on standby, and I'll come back in a while and I'll show you some more. Okay, folks, we're back. Had some time to put the front bumpers on. You can see they look a lot better than they did before. And it's twilight here in Fort Worth, and so what a better time than to point out the very straight body work done by Faraway Painting. I mean, you can't see a ripple in the sheet metal, and this sheet metal is 84 years old. There's my gas cap where you would fill your fuel outside the car, not like today where you have nice doors. The back bumper came out pretty good. I had both bumpers re-chromed here in Fort Worth. I think the set was like $800 or so. You'll notice the car has no backup lights, no turn signals, and the factory standard was a left light, while the right side light was an option, a factory option. So you basically got the car with one tail light. So let me show you the inside a little bit. These Pontiacs, they built about 240,000 of them between the end of 36 and the end of 37. You could get these cars in the business coupe, which is this one. You could also get them in the 2-door sedan, 4-door sedan. You could get a touring trunk, which is a big box sticking out the trunk, and you could also get a station wagon. You could get a convertible. This is the model they sold the most because it was the cheapest. It was one step above Pontiac. So this version of the 2-door Pontiac was the cheapest one, placed just above the Chevrolet. The Chevrolet was the cheapest of the or most inexpensive of the General Motors line. Then you went to Pontiac, then you went to Oldsmobile, eventually you got to Buick and Cadillac. But Pontiac was placed second from the bottom. Again, they built 240,000 of these. These cars had a 6-cylinder engine, what we know as a flathead. And this was a flathead 6. Most of them were flathead 6s, about 222 cubic inches, compression about 6-to-1. And so the rated horsepower was about 87. If you recall, the Volkswagen Beetles were lucky to get 60 horsepower with 6-to-1 compression back in the 60s. So it was a fairly big engine for a very low horsepower. The wire on there on the starter motor is a 0 gauge because it is still a 6-volt car. So you need the biggest wire you can on the starter so that you don't get any resistance. Very simple 1-barrel carburetor, and that's an aftermarket oil filter because these things had an oil filter. So not much more to say underneath the hood. This car, as you can see, is a 37 style 2627B for business coupe, body number 544. So if they made 240,000 of these, this was probably built in the first or second week of September 1936. The trim was a 40, which is a tan interior, and the paint number was 2206, which was a golden and brown. Pontiac only offered 6 colors in 1937. One of them was a golden brown, and if you wanted black, well, then you had to order a straight 8 automobile. And most of these were straight 6s. So the straight 8 was it had about a 5-inch longer nose to accommodate the longer engine, but the chassis underneath was basically the same chassis. So as we look around this car, there's a couple strange things about it because it is a business coupe. And so what's a business coupe? The business coupe had a wooden shelf in the back. So the business coupe, you could put your briefcase there, I suppose, and put other samples in there. Back here you had a wooden shelf. Your spare tire went right here. You can see where the spare tire goes on that pole. And then that's why it was a business coupe. If you bought the sports coupe had no shelving and still had 2 pull-down seats. But that's what makes this a business coupe. Not to mention the huge door in the back, the huge trunk. In 37, they didn't really want you to exit the driver door. That was frowned upon. So the custom was, and if you look at some of the old movies, the custom was to enter on the right side, the passenger side. That's why the switch for the light is right here. So your dome light switch was on the B pillar of your passenger. That would turn on your dome light, and that dome light is secured in place by some wood. And you can see all the waffle material they used as a sound deadening material back in the 30s. All of that will be headliner that I have to install eventually. That'll be a tan cloth. The back windows will have cloth all around that back window, and the door panels will be a sheet of cardboard covered by a tan velour as well. All of that is what the factory offered back in 37. It was just a tan interior done. There was nothing else. So on your passenger door, you had a key, because that was the side that you exited last, and that's what you locked. On the driver's side, and I thought this was weird at first, but on the driver's side there is no keyhole. There is no lock, because they didn't want you exiting the driver's side, because you'd probably get run over by a car. Back in the 30s, they weren't used to people getting out of their cars, I suppose. I have the running boards redone. It's a plastic liner, the same liner they spray on the beds of pickup trucks. So I had a guy spray those, and I think he charged me $200 for the set of those. You probably noticed my broomstick, and that's because I'm still looking for the contraption that goes from here to here. So you can see from here to there, I'm missing an arm. Same thing on the other side. So it's kind of an annoyance right now, keeping this thing open, but it works. The windshield wipers, they're still off, but the windshield wipers were vacuum driven, not electric. So obviously if you accelerated your car really hard, you weren't going to have any windshield wipers, because they're all driven by vacuum, and the vacuum is supplied by the fuel pump. Back to the interior, the business coupe had and all 37s had the battery down in the floorboard. So there's my 6-volt battery that I can still buy. There's my huge 0 gauge battery wire. There was a stick shift on the floor, huge stick shift. It was kind of an inconvenience for the middle seat passenger. Officially this car was a 3-seat passenger, so later on in 38 they went ahead and moved the stick shift from the floor up to the column, and they called that a safety shift, and you stop hitting your passenger's knees with the stick shift. The whole dash I got to do, it's really just a shell held in by a couple of screws. So you pull that whole dash off fairly easy, and try to replicate the walnut grain or simply clear coat it. Everything works on the gauges, and I have a sticker kit that I will disassemble the instrument cluster and redo the whole cluster with stickers and paint it white, and it'll look pretty good after I get done with that part. Probably there are only 2 places where you can actually see the word Pontiac on this car. One of them is the horn button. The horn button says Pontiac right there, and then there's a Pontiac emblem, an emblem that says Pontiac 6, and that Pontiac word goes right here on the front of the grill. That's in the box somewhere that the guys in Faraway left this apart from me so that I could have the front grill re-chromed and this silver streak that the Pontiacs were known for, have that re-chromed as well. So really there's nothing to indicate on this car that it's Pontiac other than, you know, the Indian down on the block, the steering wheel horn button, and the emblem on the hood, on the nose piece. So this is your basic business coupe. This one I bought from a gentleman that had it stored for about 30 years. He started all the work. He did all the body work, and I had the privilege of finishing the interior. These seats seem to be original. This brown cover in the back seems to be original. It kind of matches the covering on the shelving. So that'll keep me busy most of the summer. Right now I'm trying to get my fuel pump repaired because due to lack of use, you can see the stain in front of my car. The fuel's been dripping out a little bit at a time over the last week since I got home. So I need to go do that and take care of that fuel leak and see if I can get this thing to run with. I think it's sucking air right now and not sucking gasoline. So, you know, guys, I wanted to give you a basic history of this vehicle because Faraway Painting did such a good job of keeping everybody informed over the last 4 months, 5 months, and so I want to fill in the spaces and thank Faraway Painting. Those guys are the best. You don't need to go crazy in this hobby. You know, the stuff is basic. Yeah, I got a cracked window. I could probably fix a window for 20 bucks. It's a lot of fun to restore these things and feel you like a historian to some extent. Very primitive. The brakes are very primitive, but you know that's what at least my grandparents drove back in the 30s. So I hope you've enjoyed my history lesson on these Pontiac vehicles. All steel, no more wood on the body as the bodies had through 36. So this sucker is pretty heavy, weighs about 3,000 pounds. So I will let you go. If you have any questions, drop me a line. And as Faraway Painting always says, you know, click, subscribe, like, and tell your friends about this Pontiac they did such a great job on. Really museum quality that it will be a pleasure for me to finish the restoration. So keep following Faraway Painting, and we'll see if we can get him some more cool projects like this. All right, have a good time, guys. Hello Faraway YouTubers, just wanted to give you guys an update on my 1937 Pontiac, the car that we painted at Faraway back in early 2021. Pontiac Ginger Brown, a 1975 one-year only color, and we went with a semi-clear on the semi-gloss on the covering. So the clear coat is held up very well. We just got done restoring the interior. Got the door panel done. Got the seat covers done. All the headliners in. Windlace, the whole works. Lots of detailed work, but again, the foundation was a good paint job by Faraway Painting. So you can see it looking pretty good right here. Gotta tell you that I won a best of show, my first car show in early November, and a award for originality, and obviously the paint was something that put us over the top. So thank you very much, Faraway. Appreciate all the hard work that you did. If you guys look at the videos from early 2021, you'll see how the car was just completely disassembled over at Faraway and then put back together. So I've had the privilege of just putting the final touches on what they did there at Faraway Painting. So keep up the work, guys, and Faraway, I really appreciate all the hard work that you put into prepping the body work and getting this thing painted correctly. Thank you.